Good afternoon and welcome to another webinar. We're going to be discussing Microsoft Teams Phone today, and this is basically going to give you some knowledge on what sort of services are available with it, what features are available. We're going to cover pricing. We have discussed this topic before, so this is more of a revisit session just to cover some areas some of you might not be aware of. My name is Martin, I'm the Technical Support Manager here. And we're now just going to discuss a bit about the business. So we are a gold partner with Microsoft. We specialise in providing managed services for the mid-market area and SME. We have been established for over 15 years with a portfolio of around 4,500 clients, which is continuing to grow. We are proud holders of both 9001 and 2701 ISO certifications, and we provide 24/7 support for all our services, which covers 365 days of the year. All our staff are UK based, and we are ideally placed to offer IT advice that your business needs to be successful, and we are here to help to get the most out of services such as Azure, Modern Workplace and Microsoft 365. Okay, so we're going to discuss a background of what the Teams Phone system was and basically the background of it all together. So basically the Teams Phone system was originally called Microsoft 365 Business Voice, and this was Microsoft's own telephony system, which was an add-on to certain subscriptions on Office 365. It provided things like public branch exchange capabilities and things like domestic calling plan, as well as audio conferencing. However, from March the 1st this year, this service was retired and it was replaced by Microsoft Teams Phone. One thing we need to say is that unlike Business Voice service, Teams Phone with calling plan now no longer includes the audio conferencing capabilities, as this is now a free of charge service as part of the Microsoft 365 subscription service that you have on certain plans. So which plans is the Teams Phone service available on? So you basically got, it's going to be available on the Microsoft 365 Business Basic, Standard and Premium. Then your enterprise plans, it's going to be on E1, E3. It comes with E5, so that's why E5 is not on the list. It's already part of it. And it's also available for the F plans, which are the frontline worker plans, F1 and F3, and Office 365 F3 as well. So what you're going to get with the service, so you're going to get a cloud-based phone system with some advanced features, and these include call transfer, multi-level, auto attendance, and call queues. Excuse me. You're also going to get a domestic calling plan with 1,200 minutes, and this is per user per month. You're also going to get technical support backed by us 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. There is an optional international calling plan add-on that you can get, which is 600 minutes per user per month, and that can be purchased separately. And it is available anywhere, so you've got it on things like you can get it's effective wherever the Teams client will work, such as PC, Mac, iOS, Android. You've also got it available on the web. It will just work, the phone system. It also works on desk phones, but it's only for specific SIP phones that are certified by Teams. The list of them are available on the link on screen, where you can also purchase them as well. So what are some of the features that you're going to get? Well, some of the features are going to be, so you've got things like VoIP, which is your voice over IP, which is your phone service over the internet. You've got PSTN, which is how a landline effectively works, so it's public switch telephone network, so it's the same thing as your landline. You can also obviously receive calls. You can forward and transfer calls. You can do voicemail. You could even now do calls on Apple CarPlay. Should you have an iOS device and you have a compatible car with CarPlay built in, you can actually now take calls via the app built into, well, you have to install the app on your phone, the Teams app on your phone, but it will then integrate into your dashboard. You've also got auto attendance and call queues, which are useful. You've got a group of people that you want the call to be distributed to, or how you want to handle the call, whether it goes to a queuing system or a menu system. You've got call, park and retrieve. That is typically if you pick a phone call up, say in reception, and then you want to take it on your office phone, you can park it and then basically retrieve it from your phone from the park queue. Basically, policies are more of an administrative thing where you can control things like what number gets broadcasted when you ring out, to restricting a user from making international calls, or restricting them to, say, doing audio conferencing, for example, or that you can do certain policies for emergency calling. There's a vast amount of policies that you can implement. Holiday mode is like Christmas, what you want to do with calls over Christmas or public holidays. Emergency calling is purely there for, so if you need to ring the emergency services, they know where you are. So you have to put, there's a few details that you've got to put in so they can actually locate you. You've also got music on hold. Now, music on hold is really useful because you can use the inbuilt one that's the inbuilt music that's there, which is fine. However, if you want to use your own music, you need to ensure that you either have the artist's permission or it's royalty or copyright free. Because if you put some music on there, say from the top 10, and you do not have permission, you will get in. You could be effectively legal action could be taken against you without having the permission from the artist. It's also got caller ID as well. So communication credits, what are they? So these basically are a bit like a digital wallet, really. They're designed to be there for if you run out of your 1200 minutes, or for example, if you need to make an international call and you don't have an international calling plan, you need the credit in order to make them calls. That is effectively what all it is. These credits are assigned to specific users as a license, and then they can effectively use them minutes as part of the if they go over, or they basically need them for certain numbers, premium numbers, international numbers. However, they are also used for toll-free numbers. So if you have an 0800 number as your main number for your business, the person calling doesn't foot the bill for that cost, you do. So you have to have a pool of credit available to cover that call charge. And this is where communication credits come in. So these basically act as effectively it's paying the bill for that call, basically. So if you are using an 0800 number, you will have to have these enabled. You'll have to have a credit card or debit card on file in order to pay for them credits, because if they're not there, you will not be able to use your 0800 number. So some key points about communication credits. They are assigned to communication licenses for each user. Plans and pricing can be viewed in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center in billing and subscriptions. And there is a useful feature called auto recharge. Now, this is off by default. However, if you turn it on, you can specify effectively what threshold you want to also recharge the balance. So you could, for example, have it set, if I go below £20, please add another £50 to my credits, and that's what the auto recharge feature for. Very useful for 0800 numbers, because depending on length of calls, you could run out, basically. So it is a useful feature. So the Teams Admin Center, this is the sort of like the brains of the phone system. It's the main dashboard that configures everything to do with Teams and Teams Phone. And it is literally divided into logical areas for each section, basically. So from here, you can do things like you can assign phone numbers, you can order phone numbers, you can assign policies for disabling people from making international calls. You can do things like port transfer of numbers into it, which we'll be discussing shortly. You can do things like the queues on there. You can do the auto attendance, the voicemail services. The list goes on. It's literally more or less everything to do with the admin of the phone and Teams service. You can even do things like apps in there. So some people use apps inside Teams. They're all configured from here. They can also be controlled by policy as well. You also have analytics and reports. So you can actually get call reports on what phone calls have been made. You can get call quality analysis to see what the call quality is like for certain people, and then it's ideal if you're having issues, say, with your broadband, it will do an analysis of that, so you can actually see if there's any sort of bottlenecking going on or any sort of bandwidth issues. You can download reports in here as well. Currently, Microsoft don't offer any call center features. There is third parties out there that have actually built their own versions that integrate into Teams and Teams Phone that will act as a call center. So you'll get things like call but wallboards, and you'll get more rich reporting, that kind of thing. But currently, Microsoft don't have that feature. We don't actually support it as such, but there is third parties that will support that for you. And we can also, if you do decide to go with something like that, we can help you with getting that implemented. We just don't support the actual, obviously, the third party service. That's all. But we're here to help the best we can on that, should you want to use something like that. As for more in-depth reporting, there is a Power BI project that you can actually download and run against Teams, and that will actually show you more details. So if you have an auto attendant and a queue, you can actually get more rich details from that. So it'll show you things like how many calls have hit the attendant, how many have hit the queue, how many have been dropped, what's the length of them. You can also get individuals, so how many calls someone's taken, how long they're on the phone for. It'll give you sort of like a breakdown of that. It is still pretty much in a preview, and in order to use this, you have to download the Power BI desktop tool and it only works on PC. So what you have to do is you have to download it. So it only works on Windows. So you then have to you basically run this particular Power BI project. Once it's actually in Power BI, and you can get a free version of Power BI, you basically then upload it to the cloud, and then reports are available on any device. We use it here. I use it myself. I use it on a Mac. I run reports on a monthly basis, and they do give the information that I need from that phone system. So should you need a bit more advanced reporting, that is an option. If you want to know anything more about that, then just ping us a mail, and we'll get that. We'll get the details sent over to you. So number porting. Number porting is effectively a way of transferring your current phone number to Teams phone. So it's a bit like when you transfer your mobile number from one provider to another. It's kind of the same principle. But in order to do it, there's a few steps that have to be taken in order for that to happen. And what basically happens is once you transfer your number, Microsoft becomes your service provider for your phone numbers. So then you would cancel the contract you have with your existing provider because they would no longer be in the mix. Microsoft would be the controllers and ourselves. Once the numbers are ported in, you can then easily assign them to individuals, queues, attendants, however you want to manage that. And that's effectively all the number porting is. So what can and can't be transferred in? So you can transfer in landline numbers, toll-free numbers. Fax numbers can be transferred in, but you can't use them for faxing because faxing is not supported. Service numbers such as those for conference bridges, auto attendants, etc. What you can't transfer in is going to be phone numbers used for data connections like DSL, broadband connections. You can't transfer in dedicated faxing numbers to use for faxing. As previously said, faxing isn't supported. You can't transfer mobile numbers in, and transferring UK non-geographical numbers, which include the shared cost numbers for area codes such as 0843 4445 7071 and 72 aren't supported either. So what is the porting process? So the porting process would literally be a case of we would send you the paperwork, sorry. So we would send you what's known as a letter of authorization. And there's some details on here that you need to complete, which we'll be discussing shortly. Once that has been completed, you have to sign this document and send it back to us. Now, Microsoft will only accept a physical signature. They will not accept an e-signature. So you have to have it, you have to effectively print it off, sign it, or fill it in, sign it, and then scan it and send it back into it. However, they have been known to accept it if you complete the address details, etc., on your machine. It just has to be your signature that's physically signed. Once that's been completed, we will fire that off to them. We'll get it raised. We'll get a rough date of when that's going to happen, which we can advise you of. Whilst the transfer is going through, the service will not be interrupted. The only day that you'll have any interruption in service will be the day of the port transfer completion. And that is basically where it goes from the old provider into Teams phone, because the number won't be have been assigned yet to who it needs to be assigned to. However, if you let us know what you want that to be assigned to, we can help you get that set up and make sure that it's done as fast as possible to try and limit any sort of downtime. But if you have a date, you'll roughly know when the phones may have difficulties, so you can have pre-advanced warning to that, and obviously let your customers know you're going to have phone trouble on that day. But usually, once you've assigned the number, it's resolved within the hour. If there's any issues, however, it will delay the port date. So, for example, if there's an issue with the details that you specified, they will fail the transfer, and then that will delay the transfer going through on that day. The longest one I've personally had is 5 weeks, because the account number that they specified was wrong and it didn't match the billing address that they provided. So they had to basically get a new, they had to sort the account number out and get the correct address for that number. and then it went through fine. The quickest one I've seen has been a couple of weeks. So the sort of windows, it's very difficult for us to say how long it's going to take until we actually start the order for you. So the details that are going to be required to do this is going to be your company name, a VAT number if it's applicable to you, your organisation address, and then for your service provider, it's going to be the name of the service provider, their address, your account number, the service address, which is the registered billing address, the billing telephone number, and a list of all phone numbers. So if you've got more than one phone number, we need them all, the ones you want transferring to Teams, because if you don't specify them, they won't get ported. And then the authorization details are just things like your first and last name, your title, phone number, email address, and your signature. The pricing is basically going to be the following. So Microsoft Teams Phone with calling plan is available for £11.30 a month per user. This is excluding VAT. If you're looking to be on Microsoft 365 E5 or you're considering to get an E5 plan, it's £48.10 per user per month, excluding VAT. This also excludes a calling plan. You will need to add that on separately. So we do have some FAQs here. So one of the questions is, how does the Teams Phone system work? So it basically, to summarize it, it replaces your traditional PBX in the corner of your office, or even another cloud one for that fact. And it enables you to effectively have a phone system in the cloud with a calling plan, and you can have full management anywhere there's an internet connection. It will work. That is basically what the Teams how it basically works. So what is a calling plan? All a calling plan is a bundle of minutes that you can use to make phone calls, and this is effectively all it really is. It also gives you the phone number as well, so in order to make and receive calls, and it is included with Teams Phone with calling plan. And as mentioned, if you've got E5, you'll need to add that onto it separately. So who's it actually intended for? So it is really intended for small to medium-sized businesses and some enterprise customers that are using 365 that are seeking a modern phone system, basically. What happens when we're out of minutes? Well, as mentioned, you would have to have communication credits. They would be required in order to for overuse, basically. If you don't have them, then you won't be able to make any calls. When would Teams Phone not be suitable? So they wouldn't be suitable if your organization has more than 300 seats. You would need to be looking at something like Enterprise Voice, which is a more advanced phone service on Office 365 or Microsoft 365, and basically in order for that it would involve a technical conversation with ourselves and our basically our support and our sales team, because it would require us discussing your requirements, what you need it to basically do, and then we would spec that out, and then we'd be able to quote you, because the price is different for Enterprise Voice. So that concludes today's webinar. I'd just like to thank everyone for watching today. If you have any questions, or you want to take the service out, or you're an existing customer and you want to add this service to your current 365 plan, please call our sales team on 01925 818 448. But if you have any technical questions regarding the phone service, then please call our support team on 01925 818 252. Our website is simplymailsolutions.com, where you can find useful information about products that we sell, including pricing. You can also raise tickets via our website if you're an existing customer. Also, make sure you follow us on social media, because we do post updates on future webinars that we're doing, and also other information regarding products and services that we provide. And our webinars and YouTube channel can be found at simplymailsolutions.com/webinars, where you can see past webinars that we've done and also register for future ones as well. So it's been a pleasure today. I hope everyone's safe. Take care, and bye for now.